The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, a proud member of the Geekly Grind Podcast Network.
terrorists. Your game is through.
Hello, everybody! Welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, and happy 4th of July, you filthy animals.
Filthy Americans.
You filthy American pig dogs. My name is JD. I am joined by Matt. Whoop, whoop. Kyle has fled to Russia for tax reasons, I think, so he couldn't be here.
He was about to get drafted, and he did not want to die for this country, so...
Kyle's a draft dodger.
Yeah.
All right. So this week, we are talking about a very strange movie that, like, I feel only got announced very recently. And just the amount of people involved in this is just like baffling. But we are talking about America, the motion picture. It is a adult animated movie on Netflix, and it is a recounting of the very true, very historically accurate recounting of the American Revolution, full of, giant robots and jet skis and all kinds of anachronisms.
Yeah, God, you cannot really even just do it justice to say like how wrong everything is. Like
this movie starts out by supposing that not only were George Washington and Abe Lincoln alive at the exact same time, they were like best bros.
Yeah.
And buying best bro t-shirts.
Yeah, and how Abe Lincoln wasn't actually shot. Benedict Arnold, who was a werewolf, mauled him to death.
In his attempt to get revenge.
Oh yeah, and it was during a showing of the Red, White, and Blue Man group.
I was just gonna talk about fucking George Washington fucking chainsaw arms.
Yeah, like fucking Wolverine or something. This movie knows exactly what it is, and it's so entertaining.
It does not stop through the entirety of this like 90-minute movie.
Yeah,
it is as absurd, and it just continues to get more absurd.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
The movie knows how dumb it is, and just it rolls.
The
with
final
it so well.
battle has a Big Ben Transformer robot
fighting John Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Or Paul Bunyan, sorry.
What kills Paul Bunyan, and Blue has to finish him off.
The ox, yeah. Oh god, we're kind of getting to spoiler territory, but I mean, fucking, you learned about this in your history class.
Yeah,
so.
This is everything they taught you in history class, just with a little extra flourish. I guess.
mean, we all know at Abraham Lincoln's funeral, JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. and Marilyn Monroe, Teddy Roosevelt, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, they were all there.
Yeah, and we all know that like Sam Adams was a frat boy, and Thomas Edison is actually a Chinese woman.
Yeah. Or not
Paul
only
Revere is a mentally ill horseman.
Yeah. Oh god.
Turns into RoboCop.
Oh man, after a certain point, I needed to stop writing down my notes because I'm just like, it's so dense with stuff that I wanted to mention, but it's like you honestly, you just have to watch the movie. It's so fucking dumb and it's so entertaining.
It is the best. Like this movie is the best kind of dumb, and I feel like it is only because of the people involved in this. If you've seen the trailer for this movie, you know what kind of things you're getting involved with, because it starts out with by saying it is brought to you by the people who brought you Archer, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, The Expendables, and Magic Mike.
Yeah.
So with all those people involved, obviously you got Lord and Miller, Channing Tatum is in here. I think the writer director of Magic Mike is a producer. There's just so many fucking people then that's not even to start on this very stacked voice cast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Aside from Channing Tatum, you got we were mentioning Will Forte as Abe Lincoln, and of course, this is not his first go around as Abe Lincoln. He voiced him in Clone High, but also voiced him in the Lego Movie as well, which is another Lord Miller thing. Like
literally every time Lord and Miller have an Abe Lincoln, they always get Will Forte to do it, and it makes me happy.
Yeah. Then you got fucking Olivia Munn as Thomas Edison.
Who again? Apparently, it comes out of nowhere that like Thomas Edison, and we're not. They're not even changing her name. Her name is Thomas, and they make a point that she is a girl and her name is Thomas.
Yeah,
she's a Chinese woman.
She's a sorcerer,
and she's basically fucking Iron Man.
Basically, you got Paul Revere, who's voiced by Bobby Moynihan, and Paul Revere's horse was
Clyde.
Clyde, yeah, and fucking like they get fused together into like you mentioned this, they get fused together like into a RoboCop, like
because like at one point in the movie, his fucking Clydesdale horse gets its head chopped off, and they're like, "Well, can we save it?" So they go and take it to fucking this nurse, or like, and apparently she has like nanobot technology in the 1700s.
Yeah.
And then later on, it just comes back where fucking Paul Revere has been fused to his horse as a RoboCop centaur.
Yeah, and then you got like, or mentioned this, Killer Mike as the blacksmith who's revealed to be John Henry at the end of the story.
You're a Smith and you're black.
Yeah, but fucking, he just looks exactly like Killer Mike. It's so funny. Because everyone else in here, I mean, they're obviously meant to be like a caricature of like their historical figure, or folklore, or whatever.
No, I have to make point. I have to take issue with that.
By Thomas Edison.
No, I was gonna say Jason Mantzoukas plays Sam Adams, and he's not playing Sam Adams. He's playing Jason Mantzoukas like he does in every other thing he's in, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, I was trying to think. This is like the third or fourth thing we're reviewing this year that has him in it, because I think he was in Invincible. He was in Close Enough.
Dude, my wife and I, like, just because we just watch so much animation stuff, like even stuff we don't review on this show, and we swear he's in fucking everything nowadays. Like he's in Big Mouth, like you said, Close Enough and Invincible, and it just feels like he just shows up in everything, and he's always just himself. He's always like some precocious asshole.
He's great being typecast in that role, though. He's great every time.
It
works every time.
We're catching up on DuckTales, and he's a villain on there, and he's just a giant frat boy.
Yep, just like he is here.
Yeah.
Then you got Simon Pegg as King James, and Andy Samberg as Benedict Arnold, which I'd read ahead of time that's who he voiced, but when I was watching the movie, I'm like, is this the character he voices? Because like he puts on a really good voice, and like I couldn't tell it was him.
I honestly, until the credits rolled, I didn't know that was Simon Pegg and Andy Samberg. Everyone else, like, I could pick up pretty easily. But yeah, those two I couldn't get. But yeah, just like so many good comedians in this, and they sell every fucking line of this absurd script.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, and some of the lines in here are just ridiculous. Before we get kind of into some of our favorite bits of the movie, though, I did want to touch on the director. His name is Matt Thompson. He's voice acting in a lot of stuff, but this is his first feature he's directing. But he does have a history in doing television because he directed 53 episodes of C Lab 2021.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then he was also co-creator and directed 25 episodes of Frisky Dingo, which is, of course, what they followed up C Lab with, and then did both episodes of The Xtacles, and then directed 10 episodes. Directed 10 episodes of a show called Dicktown. I have no idea what that is, but it's another animated show. But yeah, he wrote and executive produced on all of those shows, including Archer. He wrote and directed on one episode of Archer, but he's executive produced on that one, along with all those other shows.
Yeah,
but yeah, and yeah, when you look at just like the background of all the shows that he's come from, and like Yeah, like it makes complete sense. Like the way the movie this is, it has like the same exact type of like humor in it. Like
yeah,
like I could have easily seen this if this movie was like toned down like a little bit or censored in some ways. Like it could easily air on Adult Swim.
oh yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if like they just like put a bunch of censor bleeps and next year, fucking either Comedy Central or Adult Swim shows this on 4th of July.
Yeah, because it's like yeah, I don't know, man. It just the overall style of it, like it kind of has. It reminds me a lot about of kind of like how Adventure Brothers kind of looks, but also like you can definitely tell like the Archer influence in there as well. Like
it definitely, the animation style very looks, it's a Venture Brother meets Archer kind of style.
Yeah, and it looks great. I love the fucking style is because they're just mashing up so much bullshit and like it just making it work. Like as far as like matching to like, you know, the characters that interact with other characters that don't exist in that, you know, time frame, and like how they're just like all this technology they're throwing in there, although some technology doesn't exist. It's
very fast and loose of what does and does not exist. Like, yeah, because I don't know why one of my favorite bits, and I think it's even in one of the trailers, is like Channing Tatum's George Washington busts into a bar, which is called Vietnam, and they have this entire conversation about how they can be in there for years and get nothing accomplished. But I just love he like throws out a one-liner and like just fucking Benedict Arnold's like, "What, did you practice that in the car on the way home?" And he's like, "What the fuck is a car?"
Yeah, and then like,
but then, like not even 5 minutes later, Benedict Arnold was on a jet ski.
Yeah. And then like they kind of do that joke 2 other times, or I can't remember the setup for it, but it's like what the fuck is a phone? Yeah. And then like what the fuck is a mile? Like apparently this George Washington invented peanut butter and not George Washington Carver.
Well, they keep having this I never really caught on to this, and there's a joke about it at the very end of the movie. They keep, because I guess because a lot of people in history have similar names, they have to keep like correcting people about like the spelling of their names to differentiate each other. So it's like no, I'm Sam Adams with an A. Sam Adams with an E is a race car driver.
Yeah. God. I don't even like. We're just like. I kind of feel like we just have to, you know, go back and forth and just talk about our favorite bits, because I can't even remember the how the story proceeded to happen with some of these events. Like, because all the jokes just happen. Like,
well, it starts out because it starts out with Washington and Lincoln at the Ford Motor Company Theater. Just the Ford logo, and they're gonna go see the Red, White, and Blue Man group, and apparently Benedict Arnold was like their third best friend, but like not really. He was like their Cartman, I guess, in the sense that they like kind of fucking rip on him, but they're friends with him. But
yeah,
we all know Benedict Arnold, who like I love that they gave him a red and a blue coat.
Yeah,
like it's just split down the middle.
And of course, Martha Washington was in the Red, White, and Blue Man group.
Yeah.
George Washington's full name, George Bon Jovi Washington.
I think it changes a few times.
That's the one that I wrote down. I'm sure it did. But...
I think every time she says his full name, it's different. And apparently, anytime that George Washington tries to quote something, it's always John 3:16.
Yes,
every time. Even if he quotes something, it has to look at Martha's like John 3:16. She's like, no, no, honey, no. But yeah, then fucking Benedict Arnold turns into a goddamn werewolf and like bites out fucking Lincoln's throat.
Well, his chin. Well, yeah, I guess his throat too. But like, because there's a very distinct visual where like he takes Lincoln's beard and slaps it onto George Washington's face. Like he's just and fucking Lincoln is gushing blood for like a full minute. Like
it's just buckets of blood spraying out from his. And I like that it keeps getting in fucking Washington's mouth and like through his mouth. He's just like spit it out every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh god.
Jeremy Snow here, owner and editor-in-chief of The Geekly Grind. I'm interrupting your awesome, regularly scheduled programming to ensure that you know about our Geekly Grind podcast network, of which this show is a treasured member of. If you haven't had a chance to check out our site, you can do so at www.thegeeklygrind.com, and while you're there, check out the other members of our steadily growing podcast family, including the anime-centric Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, discovering new heroes and comic book keepers with Chris and Lance, exploring the vast universe of geekdom with Geek Exploration, or of course appreciating animation's finer details with the Ink and Paint Club. Escape your weekly grind at the Geekly Grind.
But yeah, then like Lincoln fucking dies and is like, you may have to make the country America. And he's like, well, are you married to that name? And it's like, oh no, you have to make it America. So then fucking George Washington hooks up with fucking Martha, and she like inspires them to like go out and create a team to restart the revolution, because apparently the Redcoats knew about the fucking signing of the Declaration and just murdered everybody.
Yeah.
And then tore it up, and then fucking, we have to restart the revolution. Because Benedict Arnold's a dickbag.
Yeah, and that's how you get around to him recruiting, Sam Adams and Thomas Edison and Paul Revere and Geronimo.
We need the fastest racists in the land.
Oh yeah. No, that was my favorite bit from Paul Revere. Is like there's a bit later in the movie where a bomb's about to go off. Thomas Edison tries to disarm it, but ends up making it go quicker. And Paul Revere steps up and is like, "This is a job for a racist."
Honestly, Paul Revere, I love in this because he's like very obviously mentally handicapped, or at least a little odd, because I think he was raised by horses.
Yeah, I think he was like a feral.
He's very excited to have human friends, and he mentions it often.
Yes.
But he has like some of the best moments. Like he has one of the best moments of the movie where he fucking drift races a horse.
Yeah. Oh. God.
Underneath a truck. Just 5 people in the back of a horse like do a slide underneath a truck.
Yeah, and I think the truck's like it's a beer tanker, but it's got tea instead. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like one of the other fucking like out of nowhere absurd things is that like King James like comes over to America and he's like fucking this giant obese man in a hover chair.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like convert the Americans back into the British, and the way they're doing that is they like ferment them in tea,
steeping them in tea.
Yeah, like in these giant tanks.
Yeah,
and all it does is give them red coats, white hair, and bad teeth.
Yeah, it's this. Yeah, because of the concept of this movie, it is not kind to the Brits at all. Like
everyone is constantly calling them the fun police.
Yeah,
and they think that's really funny.
Yeah, they bring that up multiple times.
They bring it up a lot to pretty much everybody.
And King James's pet football.
He has a pet soccer
ball named Manchester.
Of course, it's called that.
That's one of my favorite visual gags. Is Sam Adams is fighting this soccer ball and like takes its tongue and turns it like inside out and turns it into like an American football. Like throws it like
it.
Yeah. Like it's a very clever like visual gag. It's great.
Yeah, and there's just like if you gotta like this is one of the movies you have to like kind of watch the background, because there's a lot of like I would say historical cameos in the background. Just like people from history. Like I said, at Lincoln's funeral, pretty much every president up to Kennedy is like at his funeral for no real reason. Like Teddy Roosevelt's just like in his little uniform, and Kennedy's there, and then like fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda Hamilton is there. Yeah. And I fucking love that they put a top hat on the top of his casket.
Oh, and yeah, you got to remember the top hat was a gift from George Washington to Abe Lincoln to hide his deformed head. Like,
yeah, apparently he has a really tall forehead.
Yeah. Oh god.
But apparently he has a giant penis, though.
Yeah, that's where the term Lincoln log comes from.
Who's in there making Lincoln logs?
Oh
Oh my
man,
god.
this movie is just rife with just a lot of like lowbrow jokes, but also like some very fun, like just I don't know, like
There's
uh,
like a fun just historical jokes that I got because I like the Revolution era of American history, which is part of the reason that I really enjoyed this. But like just a lot of the uh just the way they anachronize history and some of the jokes they make about it, I enjoyed.
yeah. Well, I would say some of my favorite jokes weren't even like necessarily historically related. Like just some of the ones I wrote down here. Um, there's a bit near the beginning of the movie where Benedict Arnold is like, riding around in like a wagon, pulled by horses.
Yeah, it's like a carriage.
A carriage, yeah, and his driver, he calls him a transporter, and it zooms out, and it looks like Jason Statham, like the transporter, like,
and he just keeps calling him transporter.
Yeah, uh, there's that. There's a bit in there when they're trying to determine where the Gettysburg Address is being held.
It's the Gettysburg's address.
The Gettysburg, yeah, that, and they're kind of scoping out the area, and like Paul, Sam, and Thomas are like sitting around playing like the name game, like they have the note with a character's name on your top of your head, yeah, and it's all characters played by Patrick Swayze. You got his characters from Point Break, Dirty Dancing, and Roadhouse.
See, I didn't catch that. I was like, why do these names sound familiar? I didn't realize they were Patrick Swayze. I think there was a point. I forget which character does it, but it like comes up with subtitles like, "Oh no, my throat's been roadhoused."
Oh, that's the ox.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's like no, I've been roadhoused.
Another really underrated joke, I think, is they have the whole scene there where Washington is trying to procure guns for his army.
Goes to Walmart.
He goes to Walmart, but no, that the joke is when he's like, "Hey, don't I recognize you?" And like, "Oh yeah, I'm from the Kinko family. My name is Fred X Kinko." Which is like if you didn't grow up when like they got acquired and stuff, like Kinko's was his own company and FedEx was his own company, and then FedEx acquired Kinko's and it was FedEx Kinko's before turning into FedEx Office. And like I don't know, that joke really fucking hit me. Like it was just Fred X Kinko. Like I don't know, I thought it was great.
That the whole scene where he goes to the Walmart equivalent just to get assault rifles.
Or he's like, "Oh yeah, but there's a waiting period and it's done."
Just looks at his watch. 2 seconds pass. Like, yeah, okay. And he's like, "What are you gonna do with all these guns?" Like, hunting. It's like, well, have fun.
Oh man.
And like the whole fucking bit with where he gives the guns to people and it's like, okay, you're gonna use these very dangerous guns to even the playing field, but we're gonna need these back at the end because we definitely can't let the Americans have these.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole thing at the fucking end about them like trying to keep them.
Are you gonna? Oh no! But besides that, too, just like, what are you gonna do about your slaves?
Yeah. You think the movie's about to end?
And are the women gonna have equal rights? What about immigrants? It's like, well,
I like the one guy who's just like, I just want to marry my boyfriend.
Yeah, geez, yeah. The ending of the movie is like,
you think we're having this giant victorious ending, and it just like fucking slams you with the reality of America. That it was designed and tailored for rich white men.
Yeah, but it's preceded by George Washington playing the national anthem, which is Leonard Skinner's "Freebird,"
because of course it is.
Yeah, and then they have the War of Attrition, which is set to "Fight for Your Right to Party" by the Beastie Boys.
I think the anthem being "Freebird" is made even funnier by the fact that Sam Adams like, I'm gonna request this at every concert for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
because he's gonna be that asshole.
Yeah. And then, of course, the big climactic moment when we didn't even mention anything about like they had to they had to find like enough silver to make a silver bullet to kill Benedict Arnold, and like they found out, oh, all the silver has been turned into teaspoons for the fucking Brits tea, and so like, we're gonna have to steal like a bunch of spoons. Like,
I just like how much silver do we need? We need a metric fuck ton of silver.
They get the fucking bullet made, and then Martha pitches the silver bullet to John Henry, who smacks it with his hammer to blow up Benedict Arnold's werewolf head.
They perform America's pastime.
Yes.
The whole bullet situation is even made funnier because like at one point, fucking Arnold bites Geronimo's arm and it starts turning into a werewolf, so he cuts it off. So he has one arm for the rest of the movie. And so they basically just like, hey, Geronimo, take all the spoons back to John Henry to turn into the silver bullet. It's like, motherfuckers, I got one arm. But I like they go back and there's a strip club right next to fucking Henry's smithy.
Yeah.
And then and he just leans to him at one point. He's like, yeah, what's the bullet gonna be done? He's like, fuck, it was done hours ago.
That was done hours ago. And then they
just start laughing because of all the dumb.
Yeah, no, fucking Geronimo's using a stump to like fan the bills out on a fucking stripper. Like, Geronimo had a good bit too near the end in the battle where he drops out of like a plane or something, and he goes, "Geronimo," or something like that.
Oh, I honestly like a lot of fucking Killer Mike is really good in this movie. I like the part where they're trying to they're like spying on the British and they're trying to figure out who's gonna be lookout. And John Henry's like, "You want me, a black man, to play lookout for all of you white people while you commit a crime?"
Nah, I'm out. Fucking, you get the silver.
He just leaves.
Yeah.
And then Geronimo's like, if it gets me away from fucking Sam Adams for a while, he'll do lookout. Because Sam Adams is the most racist motherfucker in this movie.
He learns to not be racist by the end, kind of.
Hey guys, I'm not racist anymore.
Oh boy, God, this movie it's something else. I can't remember the last time I watched something this ludicrous. Like,
it's definitely something I think America needs right now.
Yeah, no, it's somewhere in between, kind of like, I don't know. It kind of reminded me in some ways like Drunk History. Like
this is very like a Drunk History kind of thing.
It's like equal parts Drunk History and Axe Cop, kind of like just like it feels like this is something that like a young a teenage boy like would have made up like just absentmindedly like listening to like in history class, like dozing off and just like, you know, trying to make it exciting or something, you know?
Yeah, totally. There was totally an ATST snowspeeder takedown in the middle of the War of Attrition.
Yeah, but the fucking ATSTs look like fucking British trolleys. Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
We could only touch on so much of this movie in this podcast.
Even if we just like went through this movie beat by beat, I don't think us just telling you about it does it any justice.
No, absolutely not. Because it's on Netflix. You should be watching this for the 4th of July. Like,
yeah, like I said, this movie is so fucking bonkers, and I think because of the cast they got for this to sell this absurd dialogue makes it work, because in lesser hands this would be a mess.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But no, it works completely for me. It is just the right amount of just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you can deal with a little blood, because there are dudes what get hacked up.
A lot of blood, a lot of swearing, a lot of just lowbrow jokes.
It's very irreverent.
Yeah.
So if you can deal with that, I think you can deal with this. If you
watch the trailer for this movie, you will know exactly if it's your speed.
No, I the second I got done with the trailer, like I'm on board completely.
Yeah. I kind of hope that this gets like a sequel or something. I feel like there's so many other moments in history that they could like make a movie like this about, like, and like you could still keep like the same characters, because none of that shit matters. Like,
time does not matter to this movie.
Yeah,
all time exists at all times.
Yeah, it's all the time, all of the time.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I really do hope they do something else like this because
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself.
And like, I feel like this was just such a surprise because like, I feel like, at least for me, I heard nothing about this up until a couple weeks ago. And they're like, just drop the trailer and like, this is a thing. There's all these people involved. It's going to be a good time. And I had a good time with it.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Oh man. So, yeah, I know we have some non-American viewer or listeners. So I hope you got something out of this. If you watch this and you're not an American, yes, all of that actually happened. We had robots and cyborgs and, you know, fucking nanobots back in the 1700s during our founding. And
yeah,
Benedict Arnold was definitely a werewolf.
Yes, absolutely.
Who could fucking power up to his final form. Oh my god. Well, guys, thank you all for listening. I hope our American listeners have a good 4th of July. Everyone else, I hope you just have a good day in general.
Yeah.
Watch this movie if not for the first time, watch it again because it will make for a good time. So.
Definitely.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you all later. Stay safe out there.
God bless America.
God bless it.
Thanks for listening. You can find all the links to our social media pages in the episode description. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and join our Discord. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. The Ink and Paint Club is happy to be part of the Geekly Grind Podcast Network. We'll see you next time.